Egypt steps up pressure on Ethiopia. Through strategic port agreements in Eritrea and Djibouti, Egypt has intensified its regional strategy against Ethiopia by securing discrete agreements to develop key seaports in Eritrea and Djibouti, a move widely seen as part of Cairo's broader effort to exert pressure on Addis Ababa amid their long-running dispute over Nile waters. According to sources in Cairo cited by the National, these port deals strengthen Egypt's military and logistical footprint in the Horn of Africa, while indirectly constraining Ethiopia's regional ambitions. Under the agreements, signed quietly and without public fanfare, Egypt will upgrade the Red Sea port of Assab in Eritrea and Doraleh in Djibouti, a major port on the Gulf of Aden. The projects are intended to expand port capacity, construct berths capable of hosting warships, and allow for the deployment of small but highly trained Egyptian military units. Both ports are strategically located near the Bab Al-Mandeb Strait, a vital maritime chokepoint that connects the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean and serves as one of the world's most important global trade corridors. These developments carry particular significance for Ethiopia. Since Eritrea's secession in 1993, Ethiopia has been landlocked and heavily dependent on Djibouti, especially the port of Doraleh, for the import and export of goods. Any shift in regional port control or military presence, therefore, has direct implications for Ethiopia's economic lifelines and strategic calculations. Egypt, for its part, has long viewed access to and control over Red Sea routes as a national security priority. The country boasts more than 2,000 kilometers of Red Sea coastline across its mainland and the Sinai Peninsula, and controls the Suez Canal, the critical passage linking the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. Cairo has consistently opposed the idea of landlocked states, particularly Ethiopia, gaining a territorial or strategic foothold on the Red Sea, which remains the primary maritime link between Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and East Africa. Sources familiar with the negotiations say the agreement with Eritrea was finalized during an October visit to Cairo by Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki, while the Djibouti deal was negotiated separately by senior officials from both countries. Egypt already maintains close political and military ties with Eritrea and Djibouti, and these new agreements further formalize that cooperation. As part of the arrangements, Egypt will invest in infrastructure that allows its southern naval fleet to refuel and resupply at both ports. This fleet includes destroyers, submarines, and helicopter and troop carriers. The Djibouti agreement also includes plans to upgrade road networks leading to Doraleh, further enhancing logistical access. One source described the deals as effectively legitimizing Egypt's military presence in both countries, noting that Egyptian warships already make frequent port calls in Assab and Doraleh. These moves come against the backdrop of Egypt's bitter dispute with Ethiopia over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, a massive hydroelectric project on the Blue Nile that Ethiopia completed earlier this year. Egypt, which depends on the Nile for nearly all of its freshwater needs, regards the dam as an existential threat. Cairo argues that GERD could reduce Egypt's share of Nile waters and give Ethiopia undue control over downstream flows during drought periods. For more than a decade, Egypt and Sudan sought a legally binding agreement with Ethiopia governing the operation and management of the dam. Ethiopia, however, has consistently rejected such constraints, emphasizing its sovereign right to operate the dam and highlighting the project's importance for national development and regional energy supply. While Ethiopia has repeatedly reassured Egypt and Sudan that the dam will not harm their interests, trust between the parties has steadily eroded. The gradual filling of GERD's vast reservoir between 2020 and last year caused minimal disruption to Egypt's water supply, largely due to strong seasonal rainfall in the Ethiopian highlands. Sudan, however, has complained that Ethiopia's failure to share real-time operational data has contributed to destructive and, in some cases, deadly flooding in downstream regions, a claim Addis Ababa disputes. With negotiations stalled and the last round of talks collapsing 2 years ago, Egypt has shifted its focus towards strengthening regional alliances. Cairo has worked to build closer ties with Ethiopia's neighbors, including Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, and Kenya, while also offering technical assistance to several of the 11 Nile Basin countries. Both Somalia and Djibouti are members of the Arab League, further aligning them politically with Egypt. Last year, Egypt deepened its involvement in Somalia by deploying troops and military advisors, following the signing of a defense agreement. Cairo has also supplied Somalia with weapons and counterterrorism expertise to assist in its fight against al-Shabaab and plans to participate in a new African Union peacekeeping mission in the country. Ethiopia, which has its own security interests in Somalia, has reportedly viewed Egypt's growing presence there with concern. According to William Davison, managing editor of Ethiopia Insight, the failure to revive serious bilateral or trilateral talks on the dam has shifted tensions into the regional arena. He argues that Egypt's role in Somalia and Ethiopia's maritime ambitions are now central sources of friction between the two countries. While Ethiopia does not welcome the prospect of Egyptian troops operating nearby, Davison suggests this alone is unlikely to trigger direct conflict. The dam is now a reality, Davison notes, and it will continue to be a source of tension. I don't see trust or deep cooperation emerging between Egypt and Ethiopia anytime soon, but I also don't foresee the two countries going to war. Taken together, Egypt's port agreements with Eritrea and Djibouti signal a strategic recalibration rather than a sudden escalation. By expanding its military reach near Ethiopia's borders and critical trade routes, Cairo is reinforcing its leverage in a region where diplomacy over Nile waters has stalled, underscoring how the GERD dispute has evolved into a broader geopolitical contest across the Horn of Africa. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more related videos.